Hey there folks, Moz here and welcome to the story of Moz episode 3. A Skipman. What is a Skipman? A Skipman is a worker who loads, unloads and tends to a skip. In this particular mine, the Skipman is also the elevator operator. In Oz, the Skipman is also known as a Skippy, and that's got absolutely nothing to do with Skippy the bush kangaroo. So without further ado, sit back and enjoy the story of Moz the Skippy.
Let me tell you a story about a man named Moz who travelled in this country named Oz. Then one day he stopped in this town, got a job in mining and worked underground. Base metal ore, that is. Copper, lead, zinc.
Alright then, to begin with, let's just go through the ore hoisting arrangement. See behind me here is a diagram of a typical ore hoisting arrangement in an underground mine, which uses a Skippy friction winder. There's a picture of the head frame on this side. Skippy friction winder, as you can see, there's two skips. There's a solo skip and a skip cage arrangement. They both balance each other out. The ropes, on the head ropes, just basically loop over the drum, and the tail rope, which counterbalances the head rope, hangs underneath both the skips. The solo skip, it holds, I think it's about, from memory, was 14.5 tonnes of ore, while the skip cage arrangement has a capacity of 7 tonnes of ore. As one is raised loaded, the other one is lowered empty to the loading station, and as the loaded one tips, the empty one is filled, and so on, and the process just goes backwards and forwards. Underneath the skip cage is a man riding cage, and that's basically the elevator. Ore hauling and man riding does not happen at the same time, so if man riding is required, ore haulage stops. So part of the skipman's duty is to operate the cage like an elevator operator. Basically has a number of buttons, so you can select which level you want to go to, and as everyone gets in, they'll let him know where they want to go, and he just pushes a button and the winder will lower the elevator or raise it to whatever level was selected. So that's part of the skipman's duties. Some of the comments I received from episode 2 asked about how hot it is underground. Well, it really isn't that hot. The temperature is regulated by ventilation. You can see the diagram behind me is just a typical mine ventilation system. There's a vent fan or vent rise on the surface, which draws stale air from the underground, and that in turn pulls down fresh air down the shaft and through the mine itself. There are doors, big steel doors, that can be opened and closed to regulate how much ore, well, how much air, not ore, goes through the mine. But at the end of the day, at the loading station, they're right down the bottom, that's where the air whistles through there. And I tell you, it used to whistle through there pretty quick, that I reckon you could fly a kite down there if you had the headroom. And bugger, in winter it's bloody cold too. It's really cold air. So that's how the temperature is regulated underground. So part of the skipman's duty was also to look after the dewatering pumps, because the skipman's right at the bottom of the mine. Basically nobody works below him or worked below that position until the mine was developed further. And at the bottom, all the water in the mine accumulated in a sump, The dewatering pumps, being a positive displacement pump, would pump this dirty water up the shaft about 400 odd metres and across to a settling pond. All the crud in it would settle out, and then that water was recycled back to the mine. So there was a closed loop with water. And basically the Skipman looked after that area, maintained the loading station, cleaned it, made sure that it all was operating properly during the loading cycles. And there you have it. A couple of funny things though. I remember early in the piece, I think it would have been a few weeks after production had started, there was still a number of teething problems that were going through, and this one particular, I think it was an afternoon shift, we were hoisting away, everything was running reasonably well, and I heard this rumbling noise, and I thought, wow, where's that coming from? And I could hear, hey, it's getting louder and louder and starting to shake a little bit, shake the place a little bit. And then I realised that it was actually coming from the shaft itself. So as soon as I realised that, mate, I bolted down this drive. You can see it behind me. I headed down there, it's about 30 metres. I got to the end of it just as everything hit, and all these rocks and everything hit the loading station. And once it all settled down, I wandered back over to the loadout area, the control area, just to have a look around, see what damage was done and how much I had to clean up. And as I got there, the phone rang, and it was actually my supervisor had rung, and he said to me, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I am, but you might need to send down a clean pair of jocks, that's underwear, because the ones I got have taken a battering and they need to be replaced." So yeah, so there you go. He explained what happened. Basically, as the skip that was on the surface, I'm pretty sure it was a solo skip with 14 tonnes of ore, tipped into the hopper. The hopper was actually full. The full limit and the overfull limit had failed. So because it was that full, the skip that tipped, the ore had nowhere else to go but straight back down the shaft. And there you have it. That's what happened. So that was pretty exciting stuff. Really got the heart pumping. Yeah. I remember another time we were, well, this is a good funny thing that I've done to the guys travelling in the cage. When you pick up the guys at the surface at the start of the shift, you know, there might be about 20 blokes. They all get into the cage, the man riding cage, and they're pretty comfortable. They're pretty tight, squeezing in there. Anyway, just cruising down, and we got to one of the levels. I can't remember which one it was, but as it slowed down, I dropped one of those silent but deadly farts, and all I could hear behind me was, "Oh, who dropped that one? Oh, you dirty bastard!" And they were, you know, blaming each other for all this, for this smell, and carrying on, and I'm just standing there looking at the platform that was coming out at the level with a big cheesy grin on my face, thinking, "Yeah, I got them." Yeah. So then when we docked at the level, I opened the cage door up and opened the gate, and ones that need to get out at that level got out pretty bloody quick because it was still pretty thick in there. Yeah, very funny. I don't think they ever worked out that was me. Anyway, but it's not the first time that's happened. There's been others that have done it. Yeah, pretty funny. The shift arrangements for the mine, underground mine at the time, were they worked 5 days a week. on a 3-shift arrangement, 3 8-hour shifts. Day shift went 7 till 3, afternoon shift 3 till 11, and night shift 11 till 7 a.m. the next morning. Went on day shift midway through that week, and it happened every week. I had to go through and do just safety checks on the haulage arrangements, basically for the man haulage. And I used to get my shift boss with this all the time. We'd go through, starting at the bottom, checking the emergency stops at the levels, ensuring that if the gate opened, the winder would trip out and stop. If the gate opened on the cage, it would stop. Just checking all those limits. And we work our way up through each level. Anyway, after one level, it was a straight run to the surface. So off we went. We left one level. I'd be waiting till the winder got up to full speed. In those days was 7.5 metres per second. And I sidle over to the handrail that was in the cage, and I grab hold of the handrail without the supervisor seeing me. And as we got to full speed, I just reach up and slap that emergency stop. And when it stopped, it really stopped quick, and you get that bounce, and it's like going on the roller coaster ride, up over the top and down the other side. And the shift boss, I'd catch him out all the time, and he'd just juggle around and look at me and just say, "You bastard, you got me again." And I said, "Well, you know, you got to test them at full speed just to make sure it does stop." So yeah, he didn't like me very much for that, but every time we were on, I got him on every occasion. So yeah, good fun times. So yeah, look, that's about it. I think next episode I might just run through a number of funny stories, situations, things that I think were funny anyway, before I talk about the next job I had in that mine. So look, for now, have a great one, and see you in the next episode. Cheers!